This show is presented by the 323 Network. You can watch all your favorite 323 friends and shows on the 323 Network YouTube channel. Follow us on all social media platforms at 323read and support us as we continue to grow at patreon.com/323read. That's 323REID. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 323. I am your host, Reed Murphy.
I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Look at the show. I'm the captain.
Welcome to the fucking show.
Fuck Scott.
Welcome back, college football fans, to another installment of College Shame Day presented by the 323 Network. I am your host, Scott Ellia, and I am joined by the Bill Withers to my Grover Washington Jr., Reed Murphy. Reed, we are building them castles in the sky, just the two of us, you and I. How are you doing tonight?
Lean on me, baby. It's going to be a good time.
Oh, man. Week 2 is in the books. Week 3 is right around the corner. We're starting our Saturday morning off in the right spot. It's getting a little chilly out there, Reed. You know, it's already football season. Now we're starting to get into that football weather, and my white ass couldn't be more excited. How about you?
My black ass is ready. I love this season. I love this time of year.
Listen, for folks who aren't familiar with Virginia and the weather pattern here in the Mid-Atlantic, it is unbearable, especially in the summertime. You walk out, you feel like you're just walking into just a hot, sticky mess. And I just can't stand it. I woke up this morning, went out for work, and it was a nice crispness to the air. And I just sat there for a second and I had a moment. I had a moment with myself. I had a moment with our Lord and Savior. And I am just thankful that we're finally over the hump. But like I said,
not here. This is perfect sweater weather up in my part of Virginia, where you start in a sweater and then you're sweating like crazy the rest of the day.
You know what? I'm glad you mentioned that because that actually happened to me today as well. I went to my first couple stops. It was still nice and cold outside. And then for some reason, it was like around 11:30. I was sitting on a conference call in the car and I was sweating bullets. Looked down, it was like 93 degrees. I'm like, this is why people get sick.
Yeah.
Is because of all this weather fluctuation. Thankfully, I've dodged it. But a couple teams that didn't dodge it last week, there were some upsets in week 2 of college football. We'll get into that here in a little bit. But a quick little recap for you guys for last week. Game of the week, number 14, Tennessee, playing number 24, NC State. And of course, Tennessee just completely routed NC State 51-10. Tennessee quarterback Nico, you know what? I'm going to try to say his name again. Iamaleava. Call him Nico. I'm not going to butcher it again.
I've only heard people call him Nico. I've seen a couple people they try to they try to do the show off thing with the name Nico Iamaleava. Damn it. I tried to
Iamaleava. Whatever. But either way, Nico, he totaled 276 yards, 3 touchdowns despite throwing 2 interceptions. Tennessee's defense is just completely dominant. Will Brooks, 85-yard interception return for a touchdown, which was insane. Like I said, Nico completed 16 of 23 for 211 yards, threw those 2 touchdowns, rushed for another 65, including a 31-yard score. Dylan Sampson rushed for 132 and 2 touchdowns. And you talk about just completely dominating on the ground. The yardage differential between these two teams was crazy. 460 yards to 143. NC State was one of those teams that I felt that could sneak into the college football playoff. They still could with how the ACC is kind of panning out right now. They could sneak in simply because they won the conference championship. But when you're going up against a defense, especially in Tennessee, I mean, this is what they need to do. They're in the SEC. They forced 3 turnovers, including, like I said, Brooks' interception return, which, mind you, was the 10th longest in school history. Reed, do you see Tennessee with how fast they've come out the gate right now? Do you see them vying for that spot and giving Georgia a run for their money?
I
honestly do. I could see them being competitive. Right. I could see them giving Georgia a game there in the national championship. I've been really impressed by everything Tennessee's been able to do. Nico has been a very, very, very fun quarterback to watch. I don't necessarily know if they can beat Georgia outright. I don't necessarily know if they can take that throne from them, but I like Tennessee's chances better than most schools right now, is what I'll say without giving anything from the future away.
Yeah, and I mean, and we'll find out, here in a couple weeks exactly if they can hang with Georgia, because they're slated to play Georgia at Georgia the week before Thanksgiving, I believe. I think it's the second week of November, the 16th. They're on the road there. Their schedule, it's kind of soft in the grand scheme of things. They do have Alabama at home here in about 3 weeks or so. It's only about a month, exactly a month. They got Oklahoma they're on the road at Oklahoma in 2 weeks. They have a nice little kind of buffer game this coming week against Kent State at home. So we'll see what's going on there. Thankfully, Tennessee coach Josh Heupel, he praised Nico for handling adversity well. NC State coach Dave Doran expressed his confidence in Grayson McCall. I had a lot more higher hopes for Grayson, and he's an incoming transfer from Coastal Carolina. So he's playing with a lot of these bigger, more renowned programs. So hopefully they can kind of right the ship there in Raleigh. Next up for them, they return home. They're playing Louisiana Tech. That would be a fun game to watch as well. Wheel of Degenerate, Reed. We just keep missing it, just by the skin of our teeth. But we did call one of these, I guess, an upset, major upset, I guess, simply because Georgia Tech was ranked. But we did take Syracuse money line over Georgia Tech. They did win 31-28. We did also take the under 47.5 points for the Kansas State and Tulane game. We missed that one, but we did hit an Ole Miss minus 42.5 against Middle Tennessee. I thought that one was going to be the one we were going to miss, but they did destroy Middle Tennessee 52-3. We also missed on the over. I would have flip-flopped these. We missed the over 63.5 of the Utah State USC game. USC beat Utah State 48-0. But the big upset of the week, in my opinion, last week, Northern Illinois over Notre Dame 16-14. But we took the points on that game. They were giving them 27.5. I felt that game was going to be really close, like how it ended up being. So of course, give me the points. I wasn't confident taking them straight up on a money line bet, but I guess it's kind of irrelevant now. Northern Illinois made $1.4 million to play that game. And now a lot of folks are kind of picking them to be that group of 5 team that sneaks into the college football playoff. Maybe they can make a run. Maybe Notre Dame just isn't for real. Maybe they're just the Las Vegas Raiders of the college football world. But Reed, let me ask you, in my opinion, this puts Marcus Freeman clearly on the hot seat, right? I mean, overall, his record's 20-9. He's 2-1 in his bowls. I believe he's going into his third full season there in Notre Dame. He has a couple notable non-ranked losses. Back in 2022, when he took over officially, he lost to Marshall, and I believe they also got paid a little bit over $1 million to play in that game. And then later on in the season, they lost to non-ranked Stanford. And then last year they lost to Clemson, who was also non-ranked at that point in time. His buyout, it's manageable. It's like just barely under $4 million, which in this day and age is chump change. I mean, just look how much Jimbo Fisher got for his buyout. Yeah. And Brian Kelly, I mean, he was there for 12 years. He went 113-40, 5-5 in his bowl games, and they moved on from him. There are rumors swirling, Reed. I don't know how close you are if you're with your ear to the ground in the college football world with these coaching changes, but there's rumors that your boy, Urban Meyer, may be making a reappearance in college football as the next head coach of Notre Dame if this were to actually play out. And I was also seeing part of it that Urban Meyer's even stated that in the past, if he ever were to go coach Notre Dame, where he was a wide receiver coach back in the day, that he stated that he wouldn't even have a buyout clause in his contract if he just got fired. So 2-part question. Is Marcus Freeman on the hot seat? And is there a reality where Urban Meyer comes back and coaches Notre Dame if it happens?
To answer the first question, and excuse me, there's a easy joke with a hot seat and Marcus Freeman based on all the based on all the sex appeal that NBC likes to give him on that. I honestly, I think the buyout does make the hot seat actually somewhat of a reality, right? It's kind of like this situation, right, where beating Texas A&M, that was a big start to the season, right? And like a lot of the talk around that was you beat Texas A&M, you beat them well, you make this statement, and it's pretty much a straight line to the playoff. Straight line to the college football playoff. You'll be good for it. It'll be all right. Losing that, honestly, they shouldn't have even lost, I believe, to Northern Illinois. This is Notre Dame with the resources they have, with the talent that's there. And Marcus Freeman being a good coach, I think this shouldn't have happened. I think Freeman is young. I think he's inexperienced. I think it's going to have to take some lumps like this. But this is a massive, massive program to be heading and to be having these kinds of issues. It does not work. They're ranked 18th right now, I believe, on the AP poll. And I mean, like, this game against Purdue tomorrow, they got to have it. Pretty much from here on out, they got Purdue and then Miami of Ohio. Then Louisville will be interesting. Stanford, Georgia Tech coming up later, Navy, FSU, Virginia, Army, and closing out with USC. Like, it's going to be a hard road to, I think, at this point, and taking that big of a misstep and hitting a speed bump against Northern Illinois like that, it's going to be a tough road to really maximize on the potential here. You can obviously still make the playoff with the expansion now and make it at a pretty decent rate. And of course, broadcasters are going to want Notre Dame in there. It's Notre Dame. But you get another loss like this, maybe two more, and I think that shit's out. I think it's out the window. And I think at that point, I really do believe if Notre Dame can't make the playoff, then I think Marcus Freeman could be out. Because you're going to have, like you said, with Urban Meyer, I don't necessarily know if it'll be Urban Meyer. I wouldn't want it to be Urban Meyer, but he is just a sign of how many people will be after that job. It's a massive, massive job. Even though colleges are handing out money left and right and you can get all these great buyout deals anywhere, Notre Dame is a spot. Like, that's a huge, prestigious place. And you'll have coaches lined up to take that job. So Marcus Freeman's got to get it up. This might be just what he needs, honestly, though, to take these lumps on a big spot. I think he could be a great coach, just might not be over at Notre Dame.
Yeah, and this is kind of a decent segue into, some news to know before we get into kind of the nitty-gritty of this upcoming week in college football. But, one name that just popped in my head, that if it's not Urban Meyer, because I started thinking, Notre Dame isn't going to want to spend resources on some younger coach who's trying to prove himself. They want a little bit of stability, either financially or, as far as, coaching pedigree goes. There is a coach out there who's currently a head coach in a Power 5 conference. His son is slated to be coming out this year to go into the NFL draft. I think the luster's wearing off there in Boulder. Could you see Dion jumping the in Boulder and taking on the helm in Notre Dame? I don't want that to happen, but I mean, you talk about, you got one of the biggest names in football history in Dion, one of the biggest brands in football history in Notre Dame. It seems like it'd be a match made in heaven as far as getting whatever recruit you could ever want to get. Do you feel like that would be a decent move for Notre Dame, or would you see a lot of the same things you've seen with his tenure, both at Jackson State and also now in Boulder in Colorado?
I don't think it would work at Notre Dame. I don't think it would work out for either side at Notre Dame. Dion's swag, for lack of a better word, right now on all this stuff, and like his demand on leadership and control, I don't think that's going to fly at a school like Notre Dame. Notre Dame is all respect to Colorado, Notre Dame is a much bigger institution than Colorado. They're going to go with somebody that I think can be a little bit controlled in the situation too. I mean, look at the issues that happened towards the end of the Brian Kelly tenure. They're not going to want ego. They're not going to want super personality there. They don't need it. It's Notre Dame. They'll be able to pull in people that they want. I could see Dion making the jump to a somewhat bigger school soon, but I don't think it's going to be Notre Dame.
Right. No, I think I'm going to put it out there into the universe right now and hope for the best that it doesn't actually end up happening. And Notre Dame, the last thing they want in Notre Dame is what transpired there in Boulder a couple days ago. Reed, I don't know if you saw this, but the suspect in a hit and run, going into some Colorado news, was arrested after driving his truck onto Colorado's Folsom Field Thursday night. Police received reports of multiple hit and run crashes involving the driver. It was in a blue pickup near the stadium. The truck hit a couple trees, a car, even struck a witness while fleeing the scene. He eventually evaded police, rammed a gate, drove his truck onto the field, stopping near the 40-yard line, and started doing donuts on the stadium. I mean, of course, he's definitely been charged with multiple offenses, including hit and run, and reckless endangerment, and trespassing. There was no one, injured. And for Colorado's sake, thankfully, they're playing at Colorado State on Saturday. They won't be returning to Folsom Field until September 21st, so in 2 weeks, to face off against Baylor. So hopefully they can get the field back in order. But I think that's the last thing they need happening there in the holy grounds of college football in Notre Dame.
No, yeah, that doesn't need to be happening. I was going to try to figure out. Guess was that who was LSU's old coach? Who was the old swamp monster?
Oh, Coach O.
Yeah, maybe that was Orgeron. Maybe that's what he's up to now.
He's just doing donuts on people's fields. Donuts, O's. Could be his calling card.
See? I could also see that being like a Pat McAfee thing too. Pat McAfee seems like.
Yeah, but he's ESPN's little darling. He could do no wrong.
Oh, he would get like a nice pat on the back. Yeah, there would be no charges.
He'd have Saban riding shotgun, Lee Corso in the bed of the truck with his shirt off, the football helmet on. Oh, folks, but we're going to stay out west. It is September. We're about a month and a half away from Halloween, and it is officially spooky season, and nothing is spookier than Dr. Frankenstein himself, and looks like he is out there on the West Coast trying to make the Pac-12 a thing again. He's trying to bring them back to life because it's been officially reported that the Pac-12 will be expanding to include Boise State, Colorado State, San Diego State, and Fresno State. Starting in the 2026-27 academic year, they will be leaving the Mountain West. They'll be joining Oregon State and Washington State, who are the only two remaining schools, Pac-12 schools, after the 2023 conference collapse. Pac-12 Commissioner Teresa Gould expressed excitement about the conference's new era and praised the board for approving the additions. I feel there's going to be some more because Mountain West Commissioner Gloria Nevares acknowledged the departure, stating that all members must adhere to the conference's bylaws and policies regarding exit fees. But if they're already kind of adding these teams, I could see a day where the Mountain West and the Pac-12 actually eventually just merge completely. I think this is one of the things me and you talked about months ago as far as speculation goes. Those exit fees are terrible. Departing Mountain West schools, they'll need to pay an $18 million exit fee with 2 years notice, or $36 million with 1 year's notice. That makes a lot more sense why they're waiting until the 26-27 year. The Pac-12 is also expected to assist in paying these fees using withheld media rights funds for these departing members, which is nice. That they're going to try to do as much as they can to bring these schools in. So maybe that was kind of that main selling point. Because if you look at these Pac-12 teams or older the Pac-12 teams of yesteryear, this year right now, that same original Pac-12 group are currently 21-2 and 3-0 against the SEC teams. So it's like these teams aren't terrible. I think they weren't feeling like they were getting supported by the Pac-12, which they definitely weren't under their previous commissioner. Reed, do you like are you for the Pac-12 revitalization, or would you rather just see the Pac-12 just die out completely at this point?
No, I'm for it. And, just as we take these steps, and this is exactly what you brought up in the past of just seeing those two merge eventually. And I mean, it's just like how everything goes with these giant consumer products. Like, eventually, I mean, we'll probably see the Pac-12 get swallowed by something bigger as this whole thing just grows and grows and grows. But for now, why not keep the Pac-12 alive? Why not keep the Pac-12 in there? Why not keep the tradition and the legacy and start like anew, right? Keep things thriving for a little bit until it eventually gets swallowed by the black hole of the SEC or ACC or who knows what.
Yeah, I think the inevitable thing, me and you we've talked offline about this before. We could see how they might rebrand these conferences as more how the NFL does their divisions and conferences, and just trying to make it one massive league and just trying to break teams down more geographically. The Pac-12 will also need to expand by 2 more schools to meet NCAA minimum requirements. Reed, there's a couple teams left in the Mountain West that I feel would still bring some significant value to the Pac-12 if they were to join. San Jose State's still there. UNLV is still there. Hawaii, I think Hawaii would be a great grab for the Pac-12. The meme popped in my head when I saw that they needed 2 more teams of the guy who's doing the whole look back at the other female while he's holding the other one's hand who's walking forward. And I was thinking of Stanford and Cal. Wouldn't that be the craziest Uno reverse if somehow Stanford and Cal can get out of the ACC and go back to the Pac-12?
That would be a weird situation, but I feel like we're down for weird. I feel like the world is down for weird like this. Why not?
I'd be okay with it. Fuck it.
Fuck it.
Why not? Fuck it. And speaking about fuck it, apparently Georgia, the Georgia football team says fuck it to speed limits because we have yet again another incident that came down today. Georgia cornerback Daniel Harris was arrested Thursday night for reckless driving. 106 on a wet road, 41 miles per hour over the limit. Harris, a sophomore, was driving a 2018 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Reed, I'm going to say this right now. Back in the day, younger Scott had a Jeep Grand Cherokee, and I can tell you right now, that's not the safest vehicle to drive on a wet road, even going 40 miles an hour, let alone 106. He was pulled over after passing 2 vehicles. And of course, the vehicle had expired registration, no proof of insurance, and a legal window tint. And to put the cherry on top, he was not wearing a seatbelt. He was booked and released within an hour for a $50 bond. I know Georgia right now is preparing to play Kentucky on Saturday, which you could see a sneaky upset. Georgia really hasn't played anybody of note the last couple weeks. Of course, Georgia declined to comment on Harris's arrest when ESPN had reached out to him, but this is just a recurring issue that's happened with this Georgia football program. They've faced multiple driving related incidents, including a fatal crash in January 2023 involving Chandler LaCroix and Devin Willock. Since the crash, at least 20 players have been arrested or cited for driving violations. Previously, running back Trevor Etienne was suspended for the season opener after being arrested in March for a DUI, pleaded no contest to reckless driving. Of course, Kirby Smart comes out and stated that they've implemented measures to reduce driving issues, including NIL, money penalties, driving classes, guest speakers. That's just a load of horse crap, in my opinion. I mean, obviously, this is a recurring issue. Something more needs to happen because it's starting to get way too ridiculous. You've seen these issues before with Henry Ruggs a couple years back, most notably with Rashee Rice. Like, you're giving these kids who, for all intents and purposes, come from virtually nothing. The fastest car they've probably driven growing up would probably break down going over 80, 90 miles per hour. A lot of these kids are on NIL deals with a lot of these, car dealerships in the area. So they're driving, sports cars and things 18 to 21-year-olds have no business being behind, especially if you don't even have proof of insurance or expired registration on there. Obviously, you're not being responsible with the vehicle that you've been given. The NCAA needs to step in, right? Because this is out of hand.
The NCAA needs to step in, agents, parents, the NFL when it comes to. I don't understand why. It seems like, especially football players, just in general, whether it's college or pros, just make such stupid ass decisions when it comes to driving and when it comes to speeding on these roads. I mean, even with the Tyreek Hill situation with the Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins, Tyreek Hill, I think the report, it was somewhere between 60 to 100 miles per hour in a 35 zone. Everything that's happened with Henry Ruggs, who's the current receiver that's about to go through it?
Rashee Rice.
Yeah, Rashee Rice. Like, these young dudes, like, I don't understand when it comes to driving. Like, you have everything at your hands, right? You could go to a track. These tracks would love to have you come race or do anything. They would give you the safest possible route to do it. If it's drunk driving or anything like that, you have every resource possible for a driver, for anybody, whether you're in the pros with the money or at college with NIL money, or if you're like a backup at Georgia, like, you could get anybody to drive you. They would still find the resources for you. They would pay for Ubers. They would do whatever. Like, I don't understand why these young dudes are so damn stupid with this decision making with driving, because not only is it going to impact your career potentially, not only could it get you hurt, you could very easily kill many other people in the situation. And it just seems like common sense to me to not be. I don't know why. I don't know what the need to go 100 something miles per hour on the highway is. I don't know what you're trying to show off. I don't know what you're trying to compensate for. It's the stupidest fucking thing in the world to me. And I don't know what the NCAA can do about it. To me, it's just young stupidity. I don't know what you do to curb it. I don't know what you do to cure it. I'm curious to see what they could do.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, they need to, because it's just, let me go do that. Let me go 106 down, 41 over the limit with all the things against him, not wearing the seatbelt, no insurance, legal tinted windows, expired registration. I'd still be in jail. I'd still be sitting there. I'd be out of a job. Who knows what would be happening in the personal side to my life at that point if this were to all happen, because I wouldn't have a license anymore. But for those who have never been to Athens, Georgia, there is nothing out there. And cops are just salivating the thought of pulling over one of these kids because they know it's going to happen. The NCAA needs to hammer it home with all these kids and make the punishments, I don't want to say extreme, because it would fit the crime, not the crime. I don't want to say crime, but it would fit the situation. It's one thing if you were to be pulled over going 10 miles an hour over the limit. That happens all the time. Okay, that you can look the other way, slap them on the wrist, and kind of move on. But with egregious situations like this is where the NCAA, Georgia, Kirby Smart, whoever is funding the NIL need to step in and make an example. It's a you do it once and there's no second chance.
Right.
Pull the NIL, you're out of the funding, pull your scholarship, 1 year suspension. You don't get that year back. There's no exceptions. You lose a whole year of eligibility because of a stupid decision. And of course you can, like I said, you can make that argument because he's young, blah, 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 blah. We've all been there. We've all done stupid things being young, but doing something like this, there's no justification behind it.
Wow.
And it needs, somebody needs to step in before we have anything worse happen. I mean, hell, it's not even that. They've already had something happen. They already had a fatal accident. Not even a year and a half ago. So it's like, obviously someone's not doing what they're supposed to be doing in Georgia, and let alone the NCAA. But I digress.
It's probably not the appropriate time to play it, but we've said the word too many times.
Georgia.
You know what? And I'm not going to say the word Georgia because Georgia. We're not doing the shameful eight again. I refuse it. Like I said, I'm dying on this hill. We're not doing it. Maybe next week. maybe do a little tease here. Maybe we will. Maybe if we won't, there's only one way to find out. You're going to have to listen next week here at College Shame Day. But I will put in my first official Heisman Watch of 2024. And it is going to shake up to be, it's going to be quarterback heavy. I've just come to terms with it, Reed.
That's how it always is.
The hope that I had that a defensive player was going to get it or like a skill position player was going to get it, it's out the window because these quarterbacks are playing out of their goddamn mind. Starting it out, Oregon quarterback Dylan Gabriel. And side note, congrats. Newly engaged Dylan Gabriel. Hey. Congratulations to you. Posted that on IG over the week. So congrats to him. Last week against Boise State, 18 for 21, 243 yards and 2 touchdowns. On the year, 59 for 70, 623, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. So looks like he's doing what he needs to do there in Oregon. This will be, I lied. I said I wasn't going to say Georgia again, but I'm going to say it right now. Georgia's quarterback, Carson Beck. I mean, he's posting crazy numbers because they haven't really played anybody. I don't want to give him the, higher up on the list. I mean, yeah, last week he went 18 for 25, 242 yards and 5 touchdowns, but he played Tennessee Tech. Did you know Tennessee Tech was even a real school?
I didn't. I couldn't guess that, but now I'm curious to go do the old school thing and look for their notable alumni.
Yeah, let me know at the end of the show. On the year, 41-58, 520 yards, 7 touchdowns, no interceptions. Your guy, and somebody who I feel is going to sneak up because I don't believe in Texas and that they're going to pull it out. Miami quarterback week against FAMU, 20 for 26, 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. On the year, 46 for 61, 689 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 1 interception. It pains me to say this, Reed, but you're right. I think Miami's going to take the ACC this year.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't like saying this. I'm just hoping Mario Cristobal does Mario Cristobal thing, fucks up somewhere on the line.
I mean, at some point he's going to, right? Like you just know he's going to.
Oh, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
Moving on down the line, Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart last week against Middle Tennessee, 25 of 27, 377 yards and a touchdown. On the year, 47-54, 795 yards and 6 touchdowns, no interceptions. Ole Miss, I feel, is going to be that team that eventually comes out of the SEC because that is one scary, scary team down south. And moving on to who it pains me to say is probably number 1 because he's the Texas quarterback, Quinn Ewers. And I mean, last week, traveling to Michigan, 24 for 35, 246 yards and 3 touchdowns, going into hostile territory like that on one of the biggest stages this early on the season. On the year, 44-63, 500 yards passing, 6 touchdowns and an interception. Yeah, pending some kind of detrimental injury or some kind of implosion, I think Steve Sarkisian and company down there in Texas, I think they're gonna be dangerous, but I just don't really have faith in Texas teams. They're gonna fuck up somewhere.
Oh, at some point.
I call it the Vince Young curse. Oh boy, but folks, that brings me to the most exciting part of College Shame Day, and that is Game of the Week. That's right, folks, Game of the Week, presented by the 323 Network. ESPN College Game Day, they're traveling to South Carolina. Reed, that's a kind of a strange pick for them. It's number 16 LSU traveling to South Carolina. Fuck Kirk, go Cox.
Yeah, go Cock.
I hope. What's his dog's name? Bo? What the fuck's his name? Ben? Yeah. First of all, the whitest thing you could do is naming your dog something like that. And secondly, I hope I don't want to wish ill will on a dog, but I hope he just takes a shit on Kirk's feet.
Okay, that works.
Oh, no, but folks, College Shame Day, we will be watching closely at a game that I don't feel anybody could have ever called going early this into the season. Number 24 Boston College traveling to number 6 Missouri.
Okay.
Missouri head coach Eli Drinkwitz, and talk about a name.
That's
what a great name.
I'd like a Drinkwitz.
I mean, he is eager for a different outcome because previously, last time they played Boston College 3 years ago, they lost 41-34. The Tigers ranked number 6, while the Eagles are ranked number 24. Drinkwitz, he definitely remembers that 2021 loss all too well. It's a game. It resulted in Boston College fans storming the field at Missouri's overtime defeat. So that leaves a bad taste in people's mouths, right? when someone opposing team's fans rush the field after a game like that, it just becomes personal. Thankfully, I feel like he's learned since then, based on his experience. And I know he's hoping to guide the team to a better outcome this year. Currently, Missouri, they've been in rebuild mode since that 2021 game. And they're definitely in that college football playoff conversation. They've not allowed a point in 2 games, a feat that has not been achieved by a program since 1935. Boston College, who is now coached by Bill O'Brien, has had a strong start to the season with wins over my Florida State Seminoles and Duquesne. If I don't know if you watched that Boston College Florida State game, Reed, but he had these kids playing damn near at an NFL level. Like, he had them prepared. And I feel with his resume, he was a head coach there at Penn State for a while and then had a brief stint in the NFL. I feel like that's the move that Boston College need to make. I mean, he's the hometown guy. He grew up 30 minutes away from Boston College, so it's a great get for the area. But bringing in a name like Bill O'Brien, that should pan well in the future for bringing in some more highly touted recruits outside of the New England area. But there are some key injuries going into this. Missouri's Luther Burden III and Theo Wise Jr. are probable despite recent health concerns. Tight end Brett Norfleet and cornerback Jamarian Wayne are also questionable. But I think Boston College might sneak out with another win. I think they might do it. They entered the AP Top 25 for the first time since 2018. Coach Bill O'Brien's definitely emphasized the program's winning history and readiness through tough competition. I think having that Florida State game under their belt now is going to add to the swagger, and their quarterback is scary dangerous. He can keep you on your feet, and he has developed into a fairly competent passer. I know that was one of his pain points last year, but Missouri's wide receiver depth has been forced opponents to focus on short passing plays, limiting explosive downfield passes. Drinkwitz has also acknowledged the need to need of creative offensive adjustments to overcome, defensive strategies, which that defense in Boston College is going to give them a headache. So all eyes will be on Columbia, where Missouri is riding an 18-game winning streak. Boston College is coming to town, but Reed, I'm going to tip my hand. I'm going to put money on Boston College to come away with this.
I'm liking the momentum that Boston College is having. I'm liking the redemption arc that Bill O'Brien is having here as a head coach. Like, dude was never a bad coach at any point. Even with the Texans, it was just like he was a bad general manager. Like, they shouldn't have put him in that position, but he was always a very good head coach. I've loved hearing him talk. I've loved hearing his interviews over the last year or so, where he's very reflective of his time, not only in the NFL, but his past time in college too, what he could have done differently, how he's matured even at his age, in terms of how he's treated players and how he's worked with players and how he's made certain decisions. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy for the success he's having here at Boston College, and I'm really liking this story. I think this is going to be the big, very surprise superhero Cinderella kind of story, is Boston College continuing to make waves through college football, and that will continue against Missouri. I'm putting it down right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a team every year. I mean, TCU they were that team that came out of nowhere, the little engine that could. I mean, it could be Boston College this year. I think getting somebody of Bill O'Brien's stature was the best thing for Boston College. I know since day one being in Boston, like, he went to the AD, he went to all the boosters and everyone at the school and said, look, if you want this program to succeed, we need X, Y, and Z, and I don't expect less. And they have really bought in to Bill O'Brien. So congratulations there to Bill O'Brien and the Boston College Eagles for being this week's game of the week, which moves us on to lame of the week. And it couldn't be any worse because fuck anything Ohio. Cincinnati is traveling to Miami of Ohio. Reed, don't watch it. Go do something else. Don't even waste your time. I'm sure you can find something better to do tomorrow at 12 o'clock. All right, folks. But before we close out the show, it's the most exciting part of College Shame Day, and that is, say it with me, Reed, the Wheel of Degenerate. Bring up the wheel. Bring it up. Close the fucking ads. We're not sponsored. Get out of here, ad. We're not giving any free sponsorship. That is right, folks. The Wheel of Degenerate, where Scott spins the wheel 5 times. We trust the fates. We try to build a 5-pick parlay. We're going to win. We're going to win at some point. We've been scarily close. We're getting closer and closer as each week goes on. We're getting a little bit more creative with our bets. Reed, I have a feeling it's going to be this week. It's going to be this week. Slate of games that are going to be going on this week. It's going to be kind of quiet. There are some very interesting games, though. Some pretty notable rivalry games. Number 4, Alabama traveling to Wisconsin. Number 13, Oklahoma State at home, or traveling, to Tulsa. Number 16, LSU, like I said, traveling to South Carolina. Arkansas State traveling to number 17, Michigan. The College Shame Day game of the week, number 24, Boston College Eagles traveling to number 6, Missouri. Number 9, Oregon at Oregon State. Ball State at number 10, Miami. Tulane at number 15, Oklahoma. Number 18, Notre Dame traveling to Purdue. Number 12, Utah versus Utah State. Number 5, Ole Miss at Wake Forest. UTSA traveling to Arlington, going against number 2, Texas. Number 1, Georgia traveling to Kentucky. Northern Iowa at number 23, Nebraska. And let's take a pause real quick for Nebraska. College football is always so much better when these blue blood, long tenured programs are so much better. And I couldn't be happier for a program like Nebraska. But I want to bring up a question to you really quick with their starting quarterback, Dylan Raiola. It's a little weird, right? That he is trying to emulate Patrick Mahomes in every way possible. Or am I just crazy? Am I reading too much into it?
No, it's a little weird. Like, I thought it was weird on, like, I think it was NBC's part, whoever was carrying the game, and they were doing all the comparisons. I was like, this is a little questionably, concerningly racist. I don't know that you're doing this comparison. But then I started to realize, I was like, wait, is Raiola doing this? Like, is Raiola the one trying to emulate this?
He's leaned in.
I wouldn't want to compare myself to the current GOAT. Like, I don't know, try to emulate like fucking Dak Prescott or something right now.
Hey, I mean, Nebraska doesn't have a professional team, so I feel like most folks that live in Nebraska are probably Kansas City fans. I feel like that's a safe assumption. I mean, look at the 2 old ladies at Bet.
Yeah.
Don't they live somewhere out in the Midwest? Don't they live out that way somewhere?
Yeah, somewhere. Yeah.
One of those flyover states. Oh, but to round out the Wheel of Degenerate, Kent State traveling to number 7, Tennessee. Let's get this underway. Let's just spin this.
Spin that wheel.
Spin it.
Who we got?
The first game on the Wheel of Degenerate. Oh, no.
Oh.
Okay. Number 1, Georgia going to Kentucky. Like I said, folks, I could see this being an upset. But if there's one thing that we know, Georgia likes playing fast.
Georgia likes playing fast, and Kentucky's been at the center of some near upsets. So,
talk about upsets. Another one that I feel could end up being an upset. Number 4, Alabama traveling to Wisconsin. They are the second team on the Wheel of Degenerate betting slip this week.
Shout out to Wisconsin.
Keep in mind, Reed, we're not including number 20 Arizona at number 14 Kansas State because they are playing at this time of record.
Oh yes.
Oh, Utah State is back on the ticket. They just love College Shame Day. We might need to go out there for a game because the third game on the slot is number 12 Utah at Utah State.
Ooh, put me back in the home of Mormon land in Utah. What a time.
Hey, if you ain't soaking, you joking. Talking about soaking, look at that. We got the Green Wave. We got Tulane traveling to number 15 Oklahoma as the fourth game on the College Shame Day Wheel of Degenerate betting slip. Number 5, Reed, who do you want? Who do you want to see up here?
I want the lame of the week.
No, we're not putting it up there. We're not putting him up there. Oh, man. Oh, we got your boy. We got Cam Ward in Miami playing at home against Ball State.
Ball State. I always thought
could get a little hairy.
School.
Oh, boy. That's very interesting slate of games here for the Wheel of Degenerate betting slip. A couple upset potentials. Just to reiterate, number 4, Alabama traveling to Wisconsin. Ball State at number 10, Miami. Tulane at number 15, Oklahoma. Number 12, Utah at Utah State. And number 1, Georgia at Kentucky. And like I say every week, folks, I will not tell you my official picks right this very second on the show. The only place you can find that is the official Instagram of College Shame Day at 323 College Shame Day. We can find all the great content we have over there. We've had a lot of great traction over there as well, Reed. I don't know if you've noticed it. Some really great engagement overall. Some fans have been coming out and stating their displeasure in some of the words that I say. But hey, like I tell them, I have an ex-wife, so I'm already used to somebody not liking the words that come out of my mouth. Out of all these games that we've talked about, or any games that we haven't talked about, is there anything that's on your radar that you would like to watch going into week 3?
Honestly, Georgia, Kentucky. If not for the potential of an upset, just to watch Georgia's overpowering everything. Their overpowering offense, their defense is crazy. I love Malachi Starks. He's very fun to watch. So
just don't put him behind a wheel.
Yes, that's true. I'm very curious to watch Georgia on TV, not on the road.
Oh, man. Well, that is it, folks. Thank you again for tuning in. Oh, actually, wait a second, Reed. Because we've been teasing this. We've been teasing this for weeks now.
Have we?
About some kind of major announcement here on College Shame Day, because we got some exciting news. Some great things for you College Shame Day listeners. Starting this month of September, we're launching a monthly giveaway brought to you by the 323 Network. That's right. Each week, not each week, please. I don't think the wallet could handle it, but each month, one lucky fan. That's right. It could be you. Well, it can't be you, Reed. It can't be me. I'm pointing at myself.
Yeah.
But you, listener, that is currently hearing my very sultry voice in your ears right now, you could be that lucky fan to win a gift card to Fanatics to grab your very own college or pro football swag, because I don't like to discriminate. It's 2024. I don't want to get canceled. So if you want to support your pro team, go for it. I go with college. College is a lot better. But a couple tidbits to know on how to enter. Please make sure that you're following us on all platforms at 323 Read or at 323 College Shame Day. For every like, comment, and share of our posts during the month, you'll get an extra entry. The winner will be announced during the first show of every month. So stay tuned, stay engaged, rep your team, and you could be walking away with some fresh new gear. Good luck, Shame Day family. Reed, if you were the lucky winner of a non-sponsored, free Fanatics gift card to get any team swag you want, college, pro football, soccer, because I looked on their website and they got everything for everybody.
They do. You could get.
So don't let me tell you what to get.
You can't go wrong at Fanatics. I mean, I would try to stick with college, and I mean VCU doesn't have a football program. I could maybe wind up with some type of VCU swag or gear, but I think I'd try to find myself a number 2 jersey or some type of or a number 1 for a Taysom Hill BYU jersey.
Ooh, BYU you say?
That's where I played. That D2, that D2, but it wasn't D2 anymore. It was just rec league on a parking lot football at BYU Idaho.
Well, you'd be glad to know I'm on Fanatics' website right now, and they got plenty of BYU swag. Yeah. Shirts, polos, quarter zips, hoodies, hats, a woman's bold type easy t-shirt.
I could do that.
If you want to listen, Christmas is right around the corner. The holiday season is almost among us. It's going to be before that. I was in Walmart today, Reed, for work. You want to know what I saw them setting up? Christmas shit.
Oh, God.
It's already out. It's already getting set up. So what a better way than parlaying this free Fanatics gift card into some swag for yourself, your loved one, your child, somebody close to you, a colleague, and get them a gift that you don't have to stress over. That is amazing. But Reed, I want to thank you first and foremost for joining me today here on College Shame Day. It was a pleasure. Please let the fans know at home where they can find you.
Of course, you can find me at 323 Reed, at 323 REID on all the social media platforms, and the 323 Network on YouTube. Go to the find the 323 with Reed Murphy on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts, it has this feed. You're obviously listening to this on one of those platforms. So just keep following us, subscribe, like, rate, review, do all those things. And stick with us. Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me, as always, Scott.
I couldn't have said it better myself, but I'll give it a try. Thank you all for tuning in again to the 323 Network podcast here. We appreciate your support, passion for college football. Please stay connected with us on Instagram, Facebook at 323 College Shame Day or at 323 Read. Check out our YouTube channel. You see our darling faces. See all the fun hijinks that happen behind the camera that you don't get the full experience when you're only using your ears. Don't forget to subscribe, catch our latest episodes wherever podcasts can be found. Until next time, embrace the shame, and thank you again for listening to 323 Network.